In case I don't watch it all, the video is Narc. Subscribe to him. His videos are always good. He's growing quite a bit.
Daily dose of copium, where we look at topics surrounding Ashes of Creation, but also a dash of parasocialism from our streams live over at twitch.tv/narcivers. This series wouldn't be possible without my beautiful patrons and coped out the wazoo Twitch subs, so sit back, relax, and grab yourself a Yopa Kyola, because today we have a plethora of topics for you, starting with an amazing new update for Unreal Engine 5, but also many more topics that are shown on the screen for you. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we? I got a question to ask you guys. Do you see this texture on the floor? It's a flat texture, isn't it? Have you guys seen the latest Unreal Engine update where they can displace the ground based off the texture? Do you think Ashes of Creation will eventually implement that? And how much better would it make the world look? Because they were like showing off, it's like tens of millions, tens of thousands of millions of polygons out the fucking, like polygons out the wazoo. I think that interacts with lighting. So they probably do that last. I mean, yeah, it would interact with lighting.
Yeah, I'll be playing in an hour.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, look at this. Watch this. You think it looks great now? Like, wait until they show you the flat version of it. The snow doesn't impress. It looks like real snow, mate. What are you talking about? It literally looks like real snow. What do you mean it doesn't impress? Here. So this is the flat version. Look at that. I look at this, and it reminds me a lot of this, where this is just a flat texture. Is it possible that Ashes of Creation can eventually add this adaptive tessellation to the game? So the texture of the ground is like a flat plane. So the polygons, so the nanite polygons are super big. So obviously it's just worthless, right? What you want nanite to look like is this up here, because this is millions of polygons, whereas this is only like a couple of hundred. The guy sounds really, really excited just explaining it, because his voice is speeding up. He's like emphasizing his words. He sounds like he's super excited as he talks about it, because it's obviously a huge stride in rendering techniques.
This technique allows you to see an unprecedented level of geometric detail, but it's also memory efficient.
Man, that's fucking crazy.
And can change dynamically in the runtime of your game. So things like footprints or...
Okay, but like the question I have though is, if you're adding all those polygons, right? How much of a performance impact is that? That's the real question, right?
Tire tracks or even supernatural effects, if you want them, can be visualized.
Ooh. Now it's the billions of polygons that nanite can render.
What you expect from nanite. So it's a really, really smart, interesting technique to actually get details into the games.
So again, I'll emphasize, my point is, what if eventually these flat textures that we've got, what if eventually Ash's plan, or at least like trial tessellation in the world, to make these flat textures pop? And as somebody mentioned in chat earlier, it would make sense to do it after this big lighting update. So it doesn't make sense to do it now, and it doesn't even make sense to do it in any time soon, right? This would be a very last moment polish. This would be like beta time period polish. Imagine that.
So yeah, I get that, but I'm talking about like, where does it stand now in terms of like what their philosophy and like what the intent of the action is?
Okay,
I watched that
let's
video.
Talk about that. Where do we see these spells?
I watched that video, the one where he's watching the GMs play and they're showing off the warrior stuff. It's cool.
Going in the future. The direction that I see the spells going in the future is something that's related to the skill tree. Right now, most of the spells, they've only got one little extra.
The skill tree is really bad, by the way. The skill tree needs like some heavy work, man. If anything, aesthetically it looks really fucking terrible. I don't know. I'd have to get more hands-on to see like how it is functionally, but it just looks bad at a glance.
Extra point that you can really put into them that gives them more functionality and improves them in various ways. Ultimately, I think the goal for what the skill tree is going to look like in Ashes of Creation, it's probably going to be each spell has multiple talent points that you can invest into them. So it's not just going to be you take the spell and then upgrade the spell once. It's going to be more like you take the spell and then you upgrade the spell like 5 times, and then the more points that you put into the spell, the stronger it gets. Now, when we're talking about that, we should talk about things like, how should the spell be upgraded? Should it be a horizontal progression where it's kind of like you got one spell and then you got 5 options and you can choose what options you want until you fill all of them up?
I like that. That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
Or should it be more linear where you've got one spell and then you invest 1 point which
I don't like linear progression. I mean, I think optional linear progression's cool. Like, oh, like so your whirlwind, you suck it into AoE, and you want the AoE to be wider, and then you suck it into the next AoE that makes it a little wider. Maybe it spawns tornadoes now. Like, that's cool. Like, that's cool. I like that. But I don't like it being just like there's no options. I like it when it's like, oh yeah, and you want to do, like, what element do you want your whirlwind to be? Thunder? Fire? What? Go down that route, and then figure that out. Like, I love that idea.
upgrades it once, invest 2 points, it gives you another perk, then 3 times gives you a third perk, 4 perks, 5 perks. So these are the 2 ways that you can do it. In my opinion, I think it should be linear. I don't think you should have the choice. I think if you want that final perk, then you need to invest 5 points. That super powerful perk that turns your whirlwind into a literal tornado. The perks can be thusly. So perk number 1, it could be just something simple like it adds an attack, like the one that we've got already, right? It adds an attack onto the end, right? So you do the whirlwind and then you do an attack on the end. And then when you invest 2 points, it should allow you to cancel the whirlwind at any point during the ability. Now 3 points, now we're starting to make stuff up. So the third one could be something like during the whirlwind animation, you move faster and faster and faster and faster. And then if you go through the whole animation, you get a speed boost. And then you start running faster, just for a short period of time. So you're basically like building up a bunch of momentum and then you get a running speed boost. So that can be the third perk. So the fourth perk can be something like your whirlwind starts to inflict wound, which is the bleed over time. Now your whirlwind hits inflict wound. Now we're left with the final perk, and the final perk is, someone just said it, during whirlwind you are immune to crowd control. And if you want that ultimate perk, that immune to crowd control perk, you need to invest 5 points into it. And that's ultimately what I think the long-term goal is for Ashes of Creation.
I disagree. I disagree completely. I think the ultimate perk, I think you should just have a choice. Like at the end, like, hey, like there should be like 4 skill priority columns. One is base skill points, advanced skill points, and then ultimate skill points. And you can spend those in whatever ultimate skill you want. You could have a level 1 whirlwind with the ultimate if you'd like. Because maybe the ultimate changes how things play, or maybe the ultimate adjusts how certain things work with whirlwind. Maybe whirlwind ultimate pulls things in, and you're going to want that as a tank, but you don't want to invest all your points in a whirlwind, right? But you might tab whirlwind once to pull mobs in, so getting the ultimate skill is cool. So I think it's cool to be able to like just move that around freely however you want. I think that allocating different skill points as you would in like Power World, where like Power World has technology points and then ancient technology points, and they are spent on different things. I think it's a lot more fun than just saying, oh, here's skill points, and you can put those skill points in anything, and eventually if you invest enough into one, you get this amazing ultimate ability. I don't like that at all. I think that as a warrior, or as any kind of, anyone, you can specialize in certain things, or you can like even cheat your way and say, hey, look, I don't know a whole lot about whirlwind, but maybe this guy can teach me the Meister skill to do the amazing ability at the end. I don't think that it has to be a full commitment. When you full commit to things like that, then you just become a whirlwind character. Like, if he's talking about whirlwind for an example, like you just become a whirlwind warrior. Like, I don't want to be a whirlwind warrior. I want to be able to like flavor and move things how I need and be like, okay, cool, I want the ultimate ability because it does this cool game-changing thing, but I don't really necessarily want the damage from it, so I'm not going to invest into it. And that's the same thing with other abilities too. Like, you shouldn't have to invest into an ability 100% to get the ultimate ability. I think that's kind of lame. Dude have enough soda cans and pizza boxes. It's part of his brand. He bought a bunch of cardboard ones and a bunch of I think this bunch of fake cans and put them behind him. He's had them there for like the entirety of his online YouTube career.
like skill trees and how they're going to design the classes and stuff like that. Because what you got to remember is Ashes of Creation is a game that's being designed in a traditional MMORPG. That means that if you want, you can have up to 30 abilities on your bars if you want to, and that's okay. However, by having 30 abilities on your bar, you're sacrificing points to max out those core spells. So you now have a choice. Do I want to have a small amount of spells but max out the spells that I've got, or do I want to have a whole bunch of utility and then all the spells that I've got are not fleshed out? That to me is a really nice design, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. Okay, what did you think of Leap Strike? Yeah, Heroic Leap. Yeah, it's basically Heroic Leap, isn't it? 90% of these spells are just WoW spells. Did Arcage have a Heroic Leap?
90% of WoW spells are other spells from other games. Like, Heroic Leap came from Diablo 3, right? I'm pretty sure Diablo 3 came out and they were like, oh, that's cool. And then they took Heroic Leap because they had Leap in that game. Like, there is no such thing as an original thought. And I truly believe that. And if you go in and you investigate the origin of everything that WoW's done, I'm sure you'll find an actual like representation of it.
Leap type ability where you choose where to leap and then you jump into the air. Did Arcage have one of those? Okay. That looks so shit. What is that? Who was at the office at Arcage? What? So Arcage have one of those? Okay.
Wait, why does that look shit? For its time, I think that looks really good.
Looks so shit. What is that? Who was at the office at Arcage? I thought to myself, that looks really good, guys. Good job on that.
I thought it looked really good.
You think it needs more of an arc? Well, we'll slow it down when he uses it. So you think this needs more of an arc?
I don't think it needs more of an arc.
We'll slow it down when he uses it. So you think this needs more of an arc?
There needs to be less of a pause. There's like this weird pause that happens here.
Well, we'll slow it down when he uses it. So you think this needs more of an arc?
There's like this weird, awkward drop that I don't like.
Oh my god.
Maybe it needs... Yeah, but then again, is it designed this way specifically to combat vertical terrain? And
it doesn't seem fast. It needs to be fast. It needs to be instant. It looks like there's like a charge moment where you're charging it up. Like, it's just not good.
Maybe it needs...
Like, charging it up does not... I do not like that at all.
Yeah, but then again, is it designed this way specifically to combat vertical terrain? And they did have it so it was an arc, but they changed it because when interacting with vertical terrain, it didn't quite work as smoothly. That's a literal comet.
Oh my...
But maybe that's part of the fun, because maybe that big flash acts as a visual cue that tells your raid that a fighter has just leaped into your raid. So maybe that acts as a visual clue.
Different verticalities.
Jumps, uses it. But there is a slight delay to it, isn't there?
I don't like the delay.
What if the ability removed the delay? I feel like that's one of the things that make WoW just feel good, right? Yeah. It's the fact that nothing...
He's absolutely correct. Like, there's a reason why WoW, for the most part, has been like the top of the top of the top, and it's because they don't pause on just about anything. Like, there's no real stopping point. Like, if I hit Heroic Leap, it's going to instantly happen. And I'll be out. I'm in the fight, you know. I'm there instantly. If I hit Charge, there's no lead up to it. I don't dig my knee down and then I put my shield up and then I start to run. No, I'm just fucking... I'm there, you know. It's instant. And that instant feedback feels so nice. And most games fuck it up. By the way, found some quartz, thinking of producing a boatload of that for Anubis to swap out the bats. Hell yeah. Hell yes. We definitely need a bunch of dudes. Also, yes, Anubis would be great to have at all times.
Has any kind of build up to use, right? Everything is instant cast, instant cast.
Playing Power World.
I press a button and a button goes. Right? Yes. That feels good.
Absolutely.
You think upgrading it might take away the delay? Yeah, it could be an upgrade option. What about if augmenting?
Nah, fuck that, man. Upgrading it might take away the delay. Fuck that, man. I hate that. I hate that so much. Don't make me invest points to make an ability usable. Fuck that. Make it good off the bat, man, and then make it better as it go on. Like, start from good and then make it fantastic. You know, don't start from bad and then make it good. Like, I hate that shit.
This ability with like water magic or something removes this delay. Behind enemy lines there's a slight delay. Yeah, I feel like that just feels bad, right? It just feels like shit, which is why Arcade feels like shit in comparison to WoW. Look when he uses it, right? There's this little effect.
Go up different
You see this where he's charging up and he's sucking in the energy.
Yeah,
and
that
then
shouldn't
leaps.
happen.
verticalities.
That's a slight delay. And I feel like maybe an augment can remove that delay. If they want the delay for like balance reasons and counterplay reasons, counterplay is good, then maybe allow an augment to remove the delay. Heroic Leap was originally designed for rather the Lich King. Scrapped due to pathing issues. Well, the pathing of Heroic Leap is that it has no pathing, right? That's why the ability feels good. So it bypasses the original pathing issues that other charge.
Well, no, because in WoW, like, Heroic Leap acts like charge for the most part. Like, if you, like, for the most part, not always, but like a lot of ways, like, if you can't path upwards to it in a charge, you probably can't Heroic Leap to it either.
And gap close.
I think the way Heroic Leap works is instead of picking a target to charge, you charge the point in which you place on the you charge the point in which you place on the map. So like you get a little indicator where you want to go with Heroic Leap, but I think that's really just charge reflavored to Heroic Leap. Like they probably have the same speed, or Heroic Leap probably is a little faster, but they're probably the same thing, just disguised as different things. And instead of charging, a dude, you're charging nothing because you're just targeting an area.
Closes had. What class do you guys want to play in Ashes of Creation? What class are you looking forward to? For Alpha 2, I think the chances of Summoner being there for Alpha 2 launch is 0. We got a lot of mages, got a lot of rogues. Rogues. What do you think's going on with the rogue? Any rogues? Steven, any rogues? Any hints of the rogue? Does the rogue still exist? What's going on with the rogue? So originally, when I was watching the game, I wanted to go for a rogue, right? I wanted to go DPS or a control build. However, as I've started playing MMOs again and enjoying MMOs again, I've actually come to the conclusion that I think I would rather play a cleric. And the reason for that is because of the way Ashes of Creation is set up, where any armor with any weapon and the new weapon skill trees, classes that appeal to me in an MMORPG are the hybrid classes, the classes that can play multiple roles. So not only will I be able to play like a DPS cleric using like dual wield axes as a female Renkai and just being an absolute Giga Chad, or dual wield katanas, right? And then infusing the katanas with light and stunning the fuck out of you from range, and then just destroying you, right? Not only would I be able to do that, I also want to play around with being able to make builds that can fulfill 2 roles. So, for example, I could be the tank, but also try and heal the group at the same time. We could mess with builds like that, right? Where we try and make these hybrid builds that break conventional norms. However,
I mean, I don't think that build diversity should be that vast. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like it's harder to balance that. There should be like a neat little box. Every class should be a neat little box. And if they go out of that neat little box too much, then it becomes difficult to balance. So that's my biggest concern. Unless balance isn't a big issue, but I think it is. A lot of this MMO is PvP, so I don't know.
Another main appeal about like playing a cleric is that it can switch its role. So if I can't make a hybrid build where I can do healing and DPS, I can probably make a build where a cleric can tank, or I can make a build where a cleric can heal. What I'm hoping is that there's some way to have like a build template. When it comes to build templates, there's a few like restrictions that I think need to exist when build templates are in the game. So 1, you can't change your build template anywhere you want out of combat. To me, I don't think that should ever be a thing in any game. I think if you want to change your build, you have to go back to town, especially in like a sandboxy.
Yeah, no, you lost me there, buddy. No, absolutely no. Absolutely not. You're able to change your spec anytime you want. You're able to change your class anytime you want. Like, I don't like being restricted on what I do. Like, let me change my profession. Let me change all the stuff that I want. Don't restrict me. It pisses me off, man. Like, don't restrict me at all. Just let me have fun. Let me respec anytime that I want. Let me change my build. Let me have multiple builds locked in so I can just change them at will. Like, do not put currency on it. Do not make any restrictions on the day. Don't make me have to go to town. Don't make me have to pay a fee. Just fucking let me do it. Relax. It's not a big deal.
MMO like this. If you want to change your build, you have to go back to town.
No.
However, in the game, I think there should be build templates that you set up and you can switch between them at the press of a button. Because, you know, having to reset your points and then respend all your points, it's just archaic, right? It's 2024. Things like that, I think, you know, are fine. They're convenience at the end of the day, aren't they? They're just convenience. You set a build, save a build, you go back to town, and now I can switch to the build. Because you got to realize that moving in the world of Ashes of Creation takes time. You know, there is no Hearthstone, or at least we don't think so anyway. There's no Hearthstone. You can't just half back to town, change it, and then come back, get summoned. There is none of that. There is no summoning. If you want to change your build...
That's even more of a reason to not put it so you have to go back to town. Like, that's even more of a reason to let it be just all the time. Like, let you swap anytime you want. Like, that's even more of a reason. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You have to commit to going back to town, and that could take time, and that's good. I like that, the commitment of it. However, that's why I want to play a cleric, because I think it will be able to fulfill multiple roles, at least on some level. It might not be the most efficient at it, but for the purposes of open world stuff,
not a fan
it's
of that
probably
idea.
going to be enough, right? How punishing should respecking be, if at all?
None. Zero. Zero friction.
I think respecking should cost a fixed amount of currency based off of your current level. It could be a trivial amount, it can be a reasonable amount, but I think it should cost something. You don't even need like a free respec every month. Whatever, right? Just something, right? Some sort of commitment. If I want to change from DPS to healer, then I should spend...
Why? Why? Because the commitment is already that you're swapping over and having to build gear up and having to relearn, right? That's the commitment. You don't need to commit money to it. Why? There's no fucking point in committing that. Like, you're already making the commitment of making the swap. Like, why do you need it to be more than that? What the fuck is wrong with people? Like, everyone wants to be punished for playing a video game. I don't fucking understand it.
A certain amount of money. Why based off level? Being able to respec at the start of the game shouldn't cost the same amount of money that it should to respec at the end of the game. That's just logic, because you're going to be earning way less money at
Yeah, you're right. It should cost nothing. It shouldn't cost anything.
the start of the game than you are at the end of the game. So you just do it based off of level. So the more levels, the higher level you are, the more it costs, until it stops at level 50 at a fixed amount. So here's how I think Ashes of Creation should work. There should be infinite amounts of templates that you can create. However, if you want to switch between a template, you need to go to the node and then go to the barracks and change it at the barracks. And you can choose which template you want to change to. You go to the vendor, you choose which template, you click, yes, I want to switch to this one.
That's so... Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I've never disagreed with someone so hard in my entire life, but man, that is such an old school way of thinking. Like, that's like 5 to 6 years ago me. 5 to 6... That's pre-Final Fantasy 14 me right there talking. Holy shit, Narc. That's bad. No, do not have that happen. Holy shit, that's terrible.
The vendor says to you, okay, this will cost you 15 gold. You say, here's your 15 gold, and then it switches your spec. And then that template is a template that you've created, and that would also encompass things like augments, weapons, spec, slots, you know, all these things. It would all be encompassed into this template system. Yeah, I saw your post, Lineker, for once. To be fair, no. It's unfair to say that the comments are always negative on r/MMORPG, because I do think twice in the past as well, Showcase has been super good, and then I think r/MMORPG were like positive about it. The thing about like a website like Reddit is that it's a conglomeration of like the lowest IQ people, and all they can do is react to what they see, right? And when what they see is a thing like commissions that looks a little bit like New World, people start correlating the game.
It's completely off topic, kind of. I don't think people have low IQs when they're going to respond to people on like on message boards. I think a lot of it is understanding what they're reading. I forget what it's called. There's like a word for it. Lisa knows. Like, you'd probably know what the fuck I'm talking about when you read something and you comprehend it. Reading comprehension. I'm fucking stupid. People have bad reading comprehension. That doesn't mean that they're stupid or that their IQ is low. A lot of people have bad reading comprehension. It's like a really bad problem. Like, the reading comprehension levels of the US are probably really fucking low. And it's obvious to see when you go look at like something like Reddit, right? Or you go look at like, I even have some friends who like really struggle with reading. But if I explain it to them, they get it and they're cool, right? They just need to be explained to. And it's just something that people struggle with. It needs to be improved. Our school system needs to fix that shit, but
into New World and they start saying it's
am I ever gonna
right?
play the
Like,
game?
that
Yeah,
kind of
I am.
mentality.
I'm
Like
playing in literally like a minute.
Hive mind, and then just because of the way that Reddit is, where it's a positive or a negative feedback loop, there's none of this in between or any nuance to the discussion. It's either up or down. So it's like because New World has something, they will associate it with New World. But then it's funny that you used fishing, right? Because r/MMORPG's go-to joke is it's not an MMO until it has fishing. Does fishing even exist? Wait, is the game a
No,
scam?
this is Ashes of Creation.
Wait, does fishing? Oh no. Oh no. Wait, is it scam? Oh shit. There's no fishing. But as usual, I am just one nerd, desperate for a good MMO, and that's all the news I have for you today. Make sure you tune.
Yeah, blame the teachers. It's nothing to do with the fact that kids aren't taught how to behave and no attention spans anymore. Nuh-uh, no sir, it's the teachers. I don't think it's the teachers' fault. I think it's the system. Like the systematic like I don't blame like when you go to war, you don't blame the soldiers, right? You blame the people above the soldiers. You know, when I think about the school system, I don't think the teachers are the problem. I think the system is the problem. There's a systematic issue. And yes, I do believe that it's not. I believe, yeah, it's the parents, but I think you have to teach the parents to parent. I think I've talked about this 1,000 times, but I do believe that that parents have to be taught how to parent. Because if you don't do that from like a standardized level, like you're not gonna achieve everyone having the same knowledge basis for taking care of kids. It's gonna variety greatly, and people who are born with bad parents or born without parents are at a disadvantage of being a parent themselves. They need someone to teach them how to be a parent. And yeah, in the past we taught each other a lot. And it was generational knowledge, but now I don't think it's as much of a thing we should be worrying about. It'd be more so like up to the government to teach people. Like, people need to learn, like, hey, you know, this is how you be a good parent. That's my opinion, though. We talked about this 1,000 times. That is a topic I've talked about 1,000,000 times. But yeah, the parents are the problem. I think the parents are a problem to a degree. Kids worth 18 hours a day. System has to be 6 hours, 3 hours a day is actual instruction time. I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I that's a whole rabbit hole we could get into. I'd be talking about that for hours if we really got into it. And you and I have drastically different points of views on it, and that's okay. There's no problem with that. We can have different opinions and, you know, still be cool with each other. But I'll be right back, and once we're back, we're gonna play some Stardew. Grr. Be right back, guys.